let's provide a little bit of context, because I want to go back to the PMBOK guide and your comment about it being this thin versus this thick and so forth. I think that within the project management field, we have a yo-yo effect, because as you said, we started out with a very thin guide. And so if you are new to the project management profession, like I was when the first edition came out, it was very challenging, because to someone like me at that time, I didn't know much about project management. I needed it to be very prescriptive. What do I do? What's the first step? What's the second step? What's the third step? I needed a methodology, but I didn't understand at the time that that methodology needed to fit the context of the local organizational culture. It couldn't just be one size fits all methodology. And as I became more experienced in project management, and some of the principles that were highlighted in the PMBOK guide became second nature to me, I could just literally set it aside because I knew it, and then I could apply the principles of that foundation, of that framework, to a methodology that I built specific for the organization that I needed. The challenge that we had is we entered that era with the growth of IT. And a lot of IT project managers, particularly in software, were very disturbed by the lack of detail, because remember, the original PMBOK guide was written by seasoned practitioners from a variety of fields, some of them in government, some of them in aerospace and defense, many of them in construction. And it was meant to be a framework that fit most projects most of the time. Unfortunately, many of us who were in IT project management realized that it didn't fit most of our IT projects most of the time. And so over the next 20 years, what happened was the PMBOK guide started expanding and started to look more like a methodology than a framework. And then Agile came out and accused the PMBOK guide of being inflexible and shifting away from kind of the initial perspective of fits most projects most of the time. And I think that that's the yo-yo effect that we've seen specifically related to the PMBOK guide. The reason why I like the PMBOK guide second edition, which now is called the first edition, that was published in '96, was because it was a framework, provided high-level guidance, and then I could tailor it to fit my needs. And that fits me perfectly as a seasoned practitioner, but I recognize that that may not be enough for a junior or new entrant into the field. And I think the same type of thing is probably happening in the program and portfolio management guides as well. And to some extent, that's why we were all kind of complaining that there was a missing or a gap in PMOs. So it's great that we have the practice standard. And I'm glad it's called the practice guide rather than a standard like the
manifesto.
Exactly. So I think that's some of the challenge that we've seen. And obviously, another challenge that we have is, even when we are in the thick of things, managing programs, sometimes when we get into the weeds, we can't tell the difference between projects and programs. And that's where we kind of get lost. And we just have to kind of, if we are to walk our way out of the weeds, it has to be a return to the principles that then allow us to kind of navigate through them and establish the detailed processes in a way that actually resonates for that organization.
I think
I'm off my soapbox, by the way.
No, stay on it. That's why I invited you. I like people who talk on soapboxes.